government of national unity? Is it the revival of democracy or the last kick of the dying horse? What's your take, Joe?
The problem with democracy, we are given few options in terms of the political system that seem to be working. And we only have 30 years and we were not inducted on the governing bodies, except for knowing apartheid, except for knowing the kingdoms that we have survived under. So now, whatever that the Western powers will dish in our plates, we find ourselves consuming on the basis of their point of view. Where a political system has been created, we don't know why. Politicians are the governing body because we have soccer people, sports people, church people. Yet in Africa, it's straightforward, it's kingdoms. So we are now at a position whereby we need to start interrogating and understanding the political system. Why political parties? Why majority? Why do we have democracy that seem to be championing the ideologies of capitalism? Then subsequent to that, the consumerism. People, instead of becoming citizens, they become consumers because of all these political systems. Sometime in June, I was then requested to give a political opinion on the South African state of affairs after the elections. So let's look at the thoughts at the time, where we were versus now.
Now, let's discuss this further with Joe Malanga. He's the founder and editor of the Behind the News Network. Joe, thanks so much for talking to us. Interesting times right now. A little bit up in the air of what's going to happen. But let's say, I mean, the ANC, around just over 40% of the vote. Who do they want, if you like? I mean, I know there's an option of being a sort of a minority government, but that would make them weaker. But if they were to form a coalition, who will they choose?
There are... Firstly, I need to indicate that in this, especially in politics, there's nothing permanent. Now, there is two things that are at play in me trying to come into the answer. The black majority who supported the ANC from exile, coming back 1994, always looked at the other white parties like DA as racist organizations. But as time went, we saw a lot of black people joining the white parties, and the formation of EFF, and the formation of MK, the formation of Action SA, and many other parties. That created instability within the ANC. Also, the ANC, their arrogance did not really help them to be where they are today. Hence, it's going to be a very difficult position for them to choose the partner, because if ever they go to a coalition with the DA, they will stand a huge chance of losing a lot of municipalities, because that will be interpreted as a betrayal to their people, where they will go into collusion with the enemy, so they say. But also, we must also understand that the DA is the same political party that had an issue when Russia and China came to South Africa for military exercise. They were not happy with that. The DA is still the same party that wrote to Blinken in the US to say they need protection during the elections in South Africa. Now, what does that tell you? The DA is controlling Washington. So that is more uncomfortable to black majorities to say, you still want to have a colonial master in our doorstep controlling, influencing things that are happening in this country. So the ANC is in trouble as to who to negotiate with. EFF, it's a better option than the MK. But at the same time, the MK is making a statement to say they're not willing to talk to the ANC. So that will tell you more of chaotic scenes that we are yet to witness in South Africa. And also, coalition's government in South Africa never really worked. We saw a lot of collapse in the municipalities here when it was put on the ground to be tested. It never really worked. Now, a lot of people are questioning who came up with the system of elections, who came up with these collusions, who came up with the percentages that once you're below these percentages, you must do that. It can only be one direction. Now, you see a lot of foreign interference in these elections. Hence, ANC is going to find it hard to get an actual partner that will be perfect for them without compromising themselves or their own population.
So, Joe, are you saying that, in essence, that the ANC could go ahead and form the weaker government and be the sole ruler with President Ramaphosa remaining the leader? Is that a possibility?
Yes, it is a possibility, but now they need to find a partner for them to go ahead and do that. And if the partner is the DA is likely to accept Ramaphosa because they've been having a soft spot on him. DA never really went hard as much as they went hard on President Jacob Zuma. So that also gives a lot of questions and a lot of assumption in the background. Why is the DA comfortable with President Ramaphosa? If they are going into collision with the DA, it's likely for him, Ramaphosa, to be number one. Number two, likely to come from the DA, and of which that will create a huge problem, because the DA will come with terms and conditions of saying we need to do away with BRICS, we need to look more on the West, since they believe in the West. And now you will see that chaos. So Ramaphosa will have a serious problem which way to go. Also, the ICJ situation, the DA is supporting Israel, the ANC is supporting the Palestinians. So you will see internationally, locally, and there will be a lot of things that they will have to consider in the next 14 days that they have to form this coalition that they need to do. But there is going to be very interesting and I foresee chaotic scenes at play. If ANC is going to go ahead with the DA, then a lot of policies will have to change in order to accommodate each other, because coalitions are not about the ideology or the policies of that particular part. It's about interest. Whose interest are we serving? You know, so it's becoming very clear that the DA is pushing the agenda from the West because those are their funders and their protectors. So we foresee problems if ever the ANC will go in bed with the DA.
Indeed, indeed. Very complicated times indeed. We're going to have to leave it there. Joe Malanga, we'll find out the next few weeks, I suppose, a couple of weeks, how things pan out. But Joe Malanga, founder and editor of the Behind the News Network. Sir, thank you for your time.
Yes, I've noted a number of issues that you have highlighted from the video that was just played now. One critical issue is that the government of national unity has nothing to do with serving the public. It's all about the elites, because if the Western countries are the ones that are pushing for the GNU, they know that without that, we're going to have the breakdown of the state. And when the state has been broken down, there will be no opportunity for them to continue operating the way they are operating. Hence, you see the ideological division between the ANC and DA. ANC looking at the issue of serving the people by employing social ways of accommodating people who are not working, for example. And then the DA talking about the free economy, where it needs to go like that without being considering the issue of subsidizing the small companies. And majority of these small companies are the ones that are making the previously disadvantaged individually to serve themselves. So I hear you, and I really I am convinced with the fact that you happen to touch base on the areas that are very powerful to explain why the ANC and the DA went to the government of national unity without the ANC considering other political parties that would have made a difference for the current government to consider the issue of saving the people in general. So from those points, I want us to check exactly what are the areas that we are pushed or they are used to push us to say that we need to go for government of national unity. Without that, then we won't have a state. What are the critical issues? One example being civil war. Do you believe that without government of national unity, there will be fights?
You see, the problem is that who introduced the political system in South Africa? And how did we get to a level where only politicians, I mean, we have economics, we have church people, we have sport people, we have ordinary people, we have traditional leaders. Who came up with the running of the state need to be run by politicians? And if you look at the economics, they have to go and study for economics, the financial sector. You have to study finance in able to understand business intelligence, sport. You have to be fit. You have to train. Church people. You have to have a form of a knowledge of getting into the government. Now, but when you look at the political side of things, you don't need a matric to be a politician. You can be a dropout, you still be a politician. And you'll be trusted to make decisions on behalf of ordinary people. Yet when you can't make decisions for yourself in order to have your act together. I mean, you look at the embarrassment of politicians throughout the world. You can look at Paul Wolfowitz. He was in charge of IMF at some point. He was. You look at Bill Clinton. There's the sex scandals. You look at all these politicians. Who came up with that? We're not asking questions. We just consume. We just accept. We just vote because that's what we are told. Now, we need to interrogate all those things. Now, shifting to come to South Africa, the Oppenheimers were the ones that built the parliament, came with the political system because they were following the script of where they were coming from, introduced this so that as years goes by, our investment will be protected through the political system, being the democracy will be adopted in ensuring that capitalism is at play. Then you can have your free economy, your free market, weaken the labor laws, continue with the redressed or rebranded slavery, you know. So, and the fear that they will come and tell you, no, if there's this, there will be civil war? Another question is, why is the administration so comfortable in going for the party that has hanged a lot of people? A lot of Tony Leon's father was one judge that hanged Solomon Mahlangu. Tony Leon being the founder of the Democratic Party before all the other racist parties came together to form a Democratic Alliance. The Democratic Alliance is not one party. You have your AWB, a Conservative Party, your Freedom Front Plus, your National Party. All the racists are grouped together. The liberals and the conservatives all together. And people don't get it. They think DA is just a party. No, it's a white unity, if you want to put it that way. But why is the ANC refusing black unity? Now you'll come and ask questions. Is ANC black? You know, remember their foundation was South African National Native Congress. Then when the funders came, they said, no, change it to African National Congress, non-sexist, non-racial. How can you be a liberation party if you are non-racial? Because at that, it was about black people. It was about black people. And also, then they tell you about the Freedom Charter that says South Africa belongs to those who live in it. In 1956, how on earth were you so comfortable with people who come to live, and then you say, oh, it's for all that? But you knew that at that particular time you were not allowed to move around in your land. But you look at all this paper trail, and it's been on our face, but we're not questioning.
But
we
Kopane,
take what they tell us.
Can I
Yes.
ask you from that context? In South Africa, it's not the first time we have government of national unity. We can take a step back, starting from 1994, and then link it to the current one. What's your take on that? Because we started with Mandela.
It's still the same master that is writing the script. When Mandela came out, he stayed with these people in Paarl and Stellenbosch. And the current president is causing with the very same people. Because they were losing power, they had to dictate. You see, I've said this before. Chinese Communist Party will never allow any oligarchs to put money and dictate in the change of the policies. The party is bigger than anything else. In the West, including South Africa, the money is bigger than the policies and the country. This is the same country where the same families built the airport within the airport. And the one minister that was active at the time who tried to block them was fired. He's unemployed today. I don't know if he went back. But so you link it because it's the same. Remember, the colonizer never left. We, unlike the other countries in Zimbabwe, whites were kicked out. They left in Jomo Kenyatta in Kenya, Julius Nyerere in Tanzania, Kenneth Kaunda in Zambia, Samora Machel in Mozambique. They left. Though they left their traces. You can tell that the colonial master was here. But the issue that you have in South Africa, the colonial masters are still here. They own the banking, they own the buildings, they own everything. You have to buy land in your own backyard. When you want to build something, you have to go and ask for permission. There's buildings that you cannot take down because there's a thing called a British law that's supposed to preserve these houses so it can keep the memory alive of those people who came here. That's why even the architects, they're protecting their own things in our land. Now, the link is that the very same political party is allowing that to happen. The link is that the ANC is causing with them. The link is that these are the same people who funded and founded COSATU to capture workers, COSATU. To capture the masses ANC. The so-called policy partners, SACP, it's not working. So, and SACP was still not happy with this GNU thing because they know better. They saw better. They understand better. They were not even consulted. So you can tell that the rule books was handed to somebody to say, you will do this to protect or else. Then if you know, remember, our parents taught us a golden rule. Don't speak when you eat.
True. So Kopane, can I ask from this context, when you are saying that the historical GNU, the 1994, is still the same as the current one, the 1994 included Inkatha Freedom Party, and you know the history of Inkatha. What will you say from the context that the ANC always make mistakes by inviting the parties that cannot favor the majority? It's about specific individual. What do you say about the ANC in general?
It's not a mistake. The people who funded Inkatha, they're funding the ANC. It's not a mistake. Let me ask you a question. MK has so much votes. They're out of parliament. But Bosa, they're in parliament. Who's funding Bosa? The same.
Yeah.
So these guys, they use the resources of this country against this country, ensuring that these people remain divided. So rather they have one black man in there rather than having 100 black men. That's what they are trying to do. They found it in Qatar. CIA operatives were here training these Caprivi people. All these things were happening before our eyes. We know.
Yes.
So
Yes.
now this could only lead into one conclusion. The ruling party is not in control of their own affairs. You can even see now in-house, they have their own problems in-house, where a certain group of people, like Bo Andile Lungisa, we're not happy with this GNU. Panyaza Lusif
Yeah.
is not happy with this GNU. Hence in
Yes.
Gauteng, he's straightforward. Why? Because people like Bo Andile and Bo Panyas, these are Pan-African leaders who understand the struggle of a black person, who know what it means to go to school and not come back because the river was overflowing. It took 4 or 5 kids away. Who went to mud schools? Panyas Al-Suf was an SDU in Tembisa. He protected his own community. So he still has that mentality of because he understood what apartheid did. But there are certain group of people within the ANC who are cozy because they have shares in the companies, because they have businesses. You have your Shandukas, you have your all these other businesses. So on top of that, if you have a big mouth, where are you banking your money?
Yeah.
In their bank. You have a big mouth, where are you going to list your company? What are you going to do? They come up with the law to say if you have over 25,000 rents in your house, it's illegal.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
They were trying to tame the taxi industry because this is
But
the
it's
only
my money.
this is the only black business that we so because if I keep 25,000 in the house, let's say I have 10 taxes, they cash up, it's 35,000. I must run to the master and give him that money so he can know how much I have and how much power. So I don't become a threat to him. So he will be able to gauge. Back in the day, we're keeping the money at home. So they want to have a trace. And they sat down, they said, no, this taxi industry is going to rise. Guess what they do? They go in the taxi industry, put money there. Same system that they put money in the ANC, they put money on, they're using the money from the mining in South Africa to poison each other. And they make guns available, they make bullets available so we kill each other. It's a good thing for them, it's good business. Warren Buffett says, when there's blood in the street, there's money in the bank.
Okay.
So we remain weak.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to check. We're saying that the Westerners are the one that are promoting government of national unity or coalition government. We have 1, 2, 3, or 4 in Europe, meaning that they also practice government of national unity or coalition. We have France, we have Germany. And then what will you say? Because we are saying that they are the ones who are pushing because they know that when we have government of national unity, they will have an opportunity to control us, but they also have the same.
Remember something, no single politician in those countries is independent. The same banking families that are creating chaos here, they're creating chaos there, they're creating chaos there. Look at these countries and ask one question. I've said this, follow the money, you'll know the truth.
Yeah.
If you follow the money, you'll know the truth. If you want to understand the day-to-day running of any country or any household or the church or the sky or the bulb or the dogs, who feeds the dog controls the dog. If a country has a Rothschild-aligned central bank, that is the person who will feed the dog. If it's a Rockefeller-aligned, that is the person that feeds the dog. Let's talk about Germany. Germany, outside US, they have the biggest military base in Germany.
Okay.
Why? Why is Germany? Because they put this fear into Germany to say, we need to stick around in case the Nazis resurface. But we must also watch the Soviet Union because they're too close to you. Should they attack you? So we will remain here. But at the same time, America made sure that they have the upper hand. But having that upper hand in Germany, it's a Rothschild foundation. They come from Bavaria, from 1773. That's where they come from. That's where the influence comes from. But the Rockefellers wanted influence there. I always say to people, all these military bases you see, it's not about a country. No, it's about corporations. It's about corporations because when they get there, they push the idea of oil, Exxaro and Chevron, which there's no government business that get anything out of rebuilding or stealing. Like here in your country, it was DPS.
Yeah.
Which government company that says I'm mining? No, it's not that. Oil. In Russia, it's Gazprom. It's a company. So this tells you that even in Germany, you have your Bavaria Motor Works called BMW, you have VW, you have Audi. These are companies that control the economy of a country. Who controls these companies? When these companies make money, where are they banking the money?
Yeah.
Where they take the money, it's where the master sits. He doesn't care. Look it up where Amschel Rothschild said, I don't care who runs the country. Give me the currency. I don't care who makes the laws. As long as I'm in control of the currency, I will make the laws. And that's what is happening. So Germany, Angela Merkel sat at home for 18 days without the government because the other Christian Democratic Party there walked away, or they were doing a coalition with some other progressive party. They walked. And that's where the Americans were doing an experiment on coalition government. They started with the biggest and the strongest economic hub of Europe, Germany. Then, who was next? Alexis Tsipras in Greece. It was Italy. It was the UK. I mean, you saw Boris Johnson came, Cameron came. There was a lady that came for 2 days, and there was Theresa May, and then there was the Indian boy. Now there's another guy. So in the space of 2-3 years, we have this. So the master sits there, he enjoys the show. You come in as Tinyiko, you don't say what I want to. Let's go. Because now I'm sitting with this political system where I pull the strings. You go this way, I pull the string, it collapses. But the machine for money making continues. So they are very strategic when they control countries through companies. Because when the government collapses, the companies continue to work. Why, when companies strike, look at this, VW people will go on strike. The police will come and enforce the law on the people. How so? We've seen it in Marikana, in the private company, in Lonmin, but somebody wrote an email. The police went on a private company, shooting people who work for a private company, who were not happy with the wages. But the government wrote the email for police to act on people in the private sector. So I'm saying to people, follow the money. The examples that I just gave now is to tell you who actually runs the show. The person who feeds the dog is the person that owns the dog. Even if it's your dog, if you don't feed that dog, I feed it, that's it, you are done. So the corporations are controlling South Africa. The corporations are controlling Germany. The corporation, except for China. No corporation controls China. Russia is the same thing. Iran is controlled by a supreme leader who sits and they bring all the political parties will bring the CVs of these people. Who is the guy who's a scholar in a Sharia law, that is doing Islamic studies? Does he understand the Iranian? Can he tell us something about Khomeini, the other supreme leader? What does he understand? Is he loyal? What is his ideas on Americans? What is his ideas on Israel? So they select leaders like that. But that is their political system that they created. With you, with no matric, with this, I'm not saying people with a higher education, they're smart. No, there is an analyst who's so stupid. He says things that should not be said, but he's educated. So education, you must be educated. I'm not talking about academical. I'm talking about life in general.
Yeah.
Because you'll have a person with zero credentials in academics, but he's the wisest in his head. So in Africa, he's educated because we'll get the knowledge from them. Even European leaders, some didn't even go to school. It works well for the master because they just give you the book, read 1 up to 4, don't worry about anything. If people talk, stick to what I tell you. So
yeah.
The less educated they are, easier to control. But we need to define the education, because I don't want to say education, the one that Prince Marshall was talking about. No, I want to talk about education of life.
Yes.
Where you start to understand, where you understand the needs of the people. Our founding fathers did not go to school. For him, he's there. He was born. Marshall is there. His great-grandfather did not go to school, so he can't rubbish anyone. In fact, Prince Marshall has no right to say, if you're not educated, to this and that. Everything that Prince Marshall has studied is expired because his head is not straight. He doesn't understand. So I'm saying, the political systems, the things that are happening around the world, it's all created, it's all controlled in one hub, the financial hub. So how do you keep the financial hub going? By stealing oil, by stealing gas, by stealing food, by stealing all the natural resources of the countries of their target. South Africa being a very good prime example. Rich soil in terms of minerals, farming, everything that happens in South Africa, it works. You plant milli, it's there. Cashew nuts is there. Nuts is there. Everything else is here. So this is the political system that they use. Same thing that is happening in Germany. So I'm saying the political systems are controlled by the same people who are controlling the companies, same people who own the banking. If you follow the money, you understand how political system works. GNU was dictated by the money people who said this is what will happen. When they said there will be chaos, let me tell you, there's no civil war that will ever take place in South Africa as long as the colonial master is here. The colonial master was shocked when he saw the looting, the power of people.
That's true.
But because he created a contingency plan, there's an insurance called Sasria. He created that. Should it happen, I'm covered. So it doesn't have to pay a cent. Taxpayers are going to cover that. So that is the system of how these people work. It's the same script in different countries. South Africa is no different. It's even worse because South Africa is Europe. Let's look at this. Namibia. It was Northwest Africa. They changed to Namibia. Zimbabwe, it was Rhodesia. They changed to Zimbabwe. Burkina Faso had some funny name. They changed to Burkina Faso. Zaire, it changed to Democratic Republic of Congo. But South Africa is still South Africa. You still have the emblem of the Springbok. Most people don't know what that emblem means. It's Africans' dominance. It's their symbol.
Yeah.
That's why Luke Watson, the son of Gavin Watson, who played, said, if I see that logo, I wish I could vomit on it. Because he understood the dominance.
Yeah.
Where was that thing popular? In the 1 rand, the big 1 rand, you'll see the Springbok. They were telling you as a black person, you will carry me to your house because money is power. You hate me, you like me, you will carry me to your house. I will make ends meet for you. So I'm saying all over the world, the script is the same. In 1973, Henry Kissinger said, if I want to speak to Europe, who do I call? Most European politicians did not understand. They were like, hey, what is he saying? He was saying, whether you like it or not, we are going to form a controlled body, a controlled currency. We call EU, European Union, so we can control you in one. We say something, all these countries must comply. Then we'll bring the currency to the table. So when we turn a switch on them, then we collapse that currency for them. But ask yourself, in France, they use a euro. In Britain, they use a pound. Why didn't Britain stay with the fellow countries? No, the Rothschild says, no, this is our hub. We will dictate, we will stick to our pound.
Yeah.
That is why in South Africa, most people don't know that before you got your rand, before Forwood brought the rand, there was a pound. And most people don't know this. The pound meant Rothschild dominance. When the Africans and the English started fighting, why did they kill Verwoerd? Because he wanted to bring, he was saying South Africa is for South Africa. He was a nationalist. He was worried about his own, he was a Trump of that time. So I'm saying, he was born in Netherlands. He was not even born in South Africa, but he came here with a clear mandate, how things should happen. So Verwoerd was not born here. The DA, the Home Affairs Minister, was not even born in this country. But when you have an African person in one of the black political parties, but your own people, you see a problem. But if it's a white man, you don't see a problem. Now, I was just highlighting at the global stage, locally, in all the parts of the world where we are ruled by money. So if you follow the money, yes.
Yeah, I stop making jokes when you are talking.
But it's a fact. It's facts. I'm putting facts on the table.
No, I hear you. Okay. What can you say about the GNU tragedy that happened in between Tsvangirai and Mugabe? I want, because this is a teaching platform, people to understand that it's not about us talking about South Africa. It's a global problem where GNU is forced onto people. Before we come back home to look at to check if our GNU is still alive or it is dead already.
It's in the life support. It's in ICU. Remember, when you are in the intensive care unit, so somebody has to take care of it. Somebody is making sure 3, 4, 5 nurses are there. Remember, some people were saying these are the times of the quiet diplomats of Thabo Mbeki. When London put pressure on Thabo Mbeki to say something, help people of Zimbabwe, and they said no, but the Zimbabweans did not vote for me. They voted for Mugabe. I must worry about South African problems. No, because for them, they are globalists. They get involved in anyone's affairs. So they wanted him to have that kind of a thinking. There were elections where we were told that Tsvangirai won the elections. Mugabe could not accept that because he knew that the DA here, Tony Leon, and some Australian companies that they use, some London companies, to fund these guys so that they could make sure that the dominance of London remained in Zimbabwe. This is what we were told by the media. Now, also, we were very careful reading whatever information we were told, that who's writing, which angle, which party is supporting. That's also another problem, because all the majority of the SADC region media houses were brought by Anglo. So you question the kind of stories that they will give you. So when they try to manage that, there were policies that, like the same thing in South Africa, there were departments that they targeted, that they could keep Zimbabwe grounded, or Mugabe grounded, or the ZANU-PF at the time. When they did that, they pulled a plug in terms of the currency, devalued Zimbabwean currency. They make sure that they sanction Mugabe, they cut off aid, they cut off all these things. But for it to lead into the GNU position, now let's go back to ZANU-PF. The policies, was ZANU-PF clear? When they had that whole entire time, yes, he did negotiate with London to say, we want the land to be returned, this is what we want. But what are some of the things that he was supposed to do independently, outside the influence on the outsiders, you know, like what Captain Ibrahim Traore are doing, to ensure that once they get into power, they pay all the debts, they cut off the master. It did not happen, because they created the Ndebeles and the Shona conflict. They made sure that now Mugabe said Joshua Nkomo is a traitor. So now you have these two divisions. You have Bulawayo, you have Harare now. So you keep these people divided. So even in that GNU was something that also had to do with tribalistic tendencies, where you were trying to measure the Shonas and then the Beles, you know. So trying to measure that also, there were a lot of pros and cons in that. It did not work, because ideological, these guys have split before, it's not working. But the reason why it was possible during that short stint was that the master was dictating from outside. Here you'll see ANC being caused with DA, being caused with Nkatha, being caused with this, being caused with America, because the master is here.
Yeah.
So your difference is that your colonizer has never left. The colonizers in those countries have left. So when they pull the plug, they pull the plug for good. When the farms were taken out, they're like, it's fine. We will make sure we poison the water, we do this, we do that, just to ensure that we destroy things that we have, like what happened in parts of Burkina Faso. So some mining companies destroyed their equipment and their trucks because now they've been kicked out.
Yeah.
So that's the tendencies of colonial masters. In this country, you never ever have civil war, because the master is here. And you can check this, look it up, or it's a hidden information. From 2021, after the looting, some policies have changed. Some Syria, the government insurance, a lot of things have changed, because they got a rude awakening. They've learned the hard way. So a lot of things that are influenced, still, again, even the Sasria thing, you follow the money, you get to know the truth. So we're not going to be compared much into Zimbabwe and many other countries in terms of Africa, because the colonizers left Ghana, left Nigeria, left all these other things. But here, our issue is the colonizer has never left. We cannot be compared to Zimbabwe. If we're not going to be like Zimbabwe, the only thing that they do is to spread fear, so people can still have a soft spot for white people, for white racist people, because we do have white people who are also against colonialism. I'm talking about the colonial masters, the white nationalists. Those are the people that are not welcome. But there's nothing much you can do if you see the hopes of the people in the ANC getting dashed by them going to bed with the same people who are pointed into the direction of saying, we don't want anything that is progressive for Black people. But why is the ANC doing that?
Yeah.
You know, so because we have a political party that is so fake, where it still says, oh no, people love ANC. No, they used to love ANC because they did not know better. They were told. Like we're saying, we have all people who believe that if you don't vote ANC, the pension will be taken away. Because it's how ANC was campaigning, you know.
Yeah, true.
And to have a president that when something happens, he's shocked. Or you say, I'm shocked. Oh, I'm shocked. Oh, the president is shocked by this load shedding. The president is, no. We cannot be shocked all the time. There's an action that needs to happen. I'm not sure if the whole, with this GNU that is throwing us and will be able to come out. I'm not sure. The same GNU has DA opposing the budget, but they have ministerial positions. How are they going to champion the service delivery to the people if they are opposing their budget? How is that possible?
Yeah.
And someone says, no, the DA must go, and boom, smoke screen. Then we get told someone was shot at. Then we divert the attention. We're no longer talking about this. No, the DA is staying because the ANC, the real ANC people were adamant that the DA was going to be kicked out. But the DA has strong ANC people within the government that is ensuring. Why, when Cyril finished to talk and then the DA will get up and clap? People must just open their eyes and see.
Yeah.
Not all black leaders are for black people. It's a fact.
Yeah, true.
Not all black leaders are for you. We have traitors in the family. We have people who are who don't see. You know, they've already crossed the line. It's gone.
Yeah.
We have black people who will come to the table and insult other black people who are trying to liberate black people. But Prince Marshall saying penny is this. Who gives him the right to say that? He has his own scandals. Where he came to the TV when they asked him questions, he could not say why he was lying. And we're not reminding him of that.
Yeah.
Because we're still holding that thing. He's one of us. Let's protect. Yana is not doing that. I'm saying, I'm demonstrating that not all black people are for black people.
True.
That's where I am.
Yeah. It's so painful to hear a black person. Yeah, I'm saying that it's so painful to hear a black person being so personal about other black people. And you go public in such a way that you want to please the opponents. It's really, you're killing your brand if you have a brand. So
have you ever noticed that no single story that has ever come out that the DA and Freedom Front Plus, they're dragging each other to court?
Never.
Because of a misunderstanding.
No, they support one another all the time. And we must do we must do the same. We must do this.
But if Prince Marshall go on public, criticize a fellow Shanghai guy and make people clap hands and laugh at someone else and still goes to sleep.
It's laughing to himself.
He's criticizing, he said Cyril is bad, but he's doing exactly the same thing in a different platform. So, colonization, you come, you instill it in people's heads, you leave, it upgrades itself. They will start to hate each other. We have more black people who are colonizers more than white people, more than the same people who brought colonization.
That's true.
And it's a fact.
Yeah.
It's a fact. Gatekeepers are black people.
Yeah. So our talk for today is to check if Government of National Unity it's assisting democracy to survive, or is it the last kick of the dying horse? The question is, do we still have the GNU in South Africa since we have voted? Because I can see the mayhem between the ANC and the DA. Is it still there? Or is just they're binding us by continuing to act like as if they are friends?
They have one master. It's still there, and it will be there. The master has dictated the terms and conditions. For you to get this, you must do that. Like when you tell your child, you wash my car, I pay for a school trip. So washing the car this time around, work with the DA, because the business is going to be worried. Or the business is not happy with this. Which business? Who's this business? The same business that when you're not happy with the money that you are paid, when you work underground, some of you crashed by rocks and you die there, you come out, you fight to get paid 12,000 rands, an email is written, shoot to kill.
Yeah.
That's the business.
So the fact that they disagreed with one another on the increase on VAT, can't you see that there are some fight between the ANC and the DA, or do you think that they will continue sticking to one another?
The money man will dictate the outcome.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a smoke screen. Whatever you see, it means nothing. They still have their manager in position number one, who's going to ensure that the will of the master will be done. Finish.
Yeah.
Done.
I think I want us to have one deliberation on how best can we stop the master behind all this democratization, the democracy, and the GNU, because we have other African countries that are trying to fight the Western countries, and they get punished for that. So I want to check, where can we start to solve this problem?
Are you willing to pay the price for it?
It's fine. It can't be forever where they tell us how much we can breathe. It's really not fair. Or you don't breathe at all.
You live in the same country where some elder in the ANC says, so how is that going to make anything better? How is that going to get us anywhere if we still have old people who will say, so yeah. It tells you they still subscribe to the same person that they were fighting against. Kakoko, you still have the same people who were running June 16, phoning Panyaza when he was still education, MEC, phoning him day and night to say, hey, Panyaza, comrade, I went the plane. Labat keeping Ganyam is calling Sab. But why are you fighting to go to send your children to be taught by your enemy? These are the same people. These are the same people that when you walk in their houses, they allow European laws you cannot slaughter and do your rituals in the suburbs because you're going to make the master uncomfortable. These are the people who have allowed that. These are the people that refuse when we're supposed to change the name. They said it's fine. We're all South Africans. These are the same people that are given free shares in these companies, and they get excited in stolen shares in a stolen land, but they get happy. I'm saying the master, Thabo Mbeki once said, when they were doing the investigations in checking how many impimpi, the spies that the apartheid government was financing through the structures with Justice Goldstone, they said if we were to really dig deep, there were over 400 people that were paid by the government in a very small area. So multiply that 400 with all the sections in Tembisa, in Soweto, in Danzani, in Bushbuck-Ridge, in Kuruman, in Kwamash, in Ntuzu. And that is when the different ideology is born, where you have Inkat, where you have these other political parties, because the master is saying, fight your own brother, I will pay you for it. That debt in Sila, isakhona. Yeah, recall. Why and you say there are still people. They were there, Patudi, Mongope, Matanzim. Those Matanzimas are still there. But now they've infiltrated the ruling party from within. Now, I always said to the ANC people, when I was active, I said to them, before we close any meeting, I said, Matthew 7, verse 21. And they'll be like, huh? I said, Matthew 7, verse 21, it says, not everyone who will say, Lord, Lord to me will see the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
It will be those who do the will of God who will see the kingdom of heaven. Not everyone in the ANC will say ANC is ANC.
True.
That was my message to them. So I'm saying we cannot win if we are our own enemy. The colonizer is here. Go to the schools. Look at the colors in the schools. You see a lot of blue. It's subliminal messages to program the children to get used to blue as the DA colors. Come on, people. See, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma is very clear with this. She understands this very well. There was a conversation that she says schools and other institutions are teaching children against the ANC because of they have gone smarter. They now understand the systems. They know what they need to do in order to win the war. I think I'm done for today.
Yeah. One
Before
more.
I become, yeah.
Do you have one last thing that you can? Do you have one last thing that you can tell the public so that they observe in the next election? Because we cannot continue with the government of national unity if it's not serving the public. What is that they can observe so that they make correct decisions?
If voting really worked, they wouldn't allow us to vote. A party that has one seat, it's invited to the GNU. A party that won the province, it's not even included. A party that we are told that the numbers that they have evidence that their votes are much higher than that. It's demoralizing for our people to know that they voted for the party of their choice, but the party of their choice is nowhere because the master will still dictate. Tell me something. Why the media and the people did not say anything when the IEC executives were in the American embassy, were invited there? People need to understand this. Embassies serve as the hubs of NGOs, regime change, corruption. That's where all these things are cool. When Joe Biden wanted to send a message, he spoke to his ambassador, that stupid guy. And look at this, all these black people that the Americans are taking, like the same black men that they're saying, the general that they're saying to go and kill Captain Ibrahim Traore, he's a black man. Colin Powell, when they attacked Iraq, it is a black man. Condoleezza Rice is a black woman. Now, the stupid guy who said South Africa is giving Russia arms in that vessel, he was a black man. What does it say? What does it say to you? And the foreign minister of the UK, who said, no, Ukrainians must keep on fighting Russians. Come on, he's a black man. Why black people are so, why black people are commodities? You can buy them and sell them.
Yes, you can say that again.
It's happening, it's happening, it's happening. So I'm saying, as long as we are commodities, as long as we have commodities within our structures, there's nothing we can do. Voting, this previous voting, it showed that voting don't really work. Same thing as religion. If religion was working, they wouldn't have given us free Bibles. It's not working. It's not working. You know, things that work, do you need a license? You need to qualify, you need to apply. But what? The moment they give you something for free, it's because it's useless. That thing is supposed to keep you occupied. So voting now, it's proven not to work. Because now you take them to court. They've already declared the elections free and fair.
Yeah.
Yet there's a case happening in Pietermaritzburg where there's evidence that the votes were rigged. The party that won is not in the government.
That's
The
true.
party that has the vote is not in the government. A party that has one seat is in parliament, making decisions on behalf of many. Does it work that majority rules? No, it doesn't work. DA, it's this number. DA can't go over 20% nationally, but then government.
Yeah.
So you ask yourself a question, on what basis? But there's no basis because the money man who feeds the dog, he tells the dog what to do, who to bite.
Yeah.
I'm done for the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Not sure if we will be disconnected or